Hi, how are you? Welcome to Cooking Audio Tips. I'm here with Tatu, the Nosh Chef Nutritionist, and my name's Geeta. Today we're going to talk about low-fat food. What it is, why is it any good for you, and generally speaking, what we think about when people eat low-fat. What do you understand by low-fat, Tatu?
There's low fat in regards to being foods naturally low in fat, and then there are foods that are synthetically low in fat. Things like low fat or zero fat yogurts, etc. And my take on it is if it's natural, I'm okay with it, and if it's synthesized, I'm not.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty much me. So why don't we start with talking about the artificially low-fat food, and then we can say what you can actually replace with effective low-fat foods. The thing about low-fat food is primarily you've used a chemical process in order to take the fat out of a food. So firstly, you may have taken out fat that's actually good for you, that you need, and then you've replaced it with something that's a chemical which you don't need. It overloads your liver, and it's really, really hard for your body to get rid of. That's my first problem. Secondly, when you have low-fat food, you eat approximately 35% more of that food. And these are clinical studies that have actually proved this. Thirdly, when something says low fat, we don't pay as much attention to the quality of the food that we're getting. It becomes about calories and not about nutrient quality, which is in fact what you should be looking for. Is there something else you want to add to that, Tatu, for the synthetic low fat?
Well, synthesized low fat foods, if you remove the fat, it means that the sugars or the glucoses are more bioavailable. So you get it hitting the blood system harder and faster. So you get a stronger insulin reaction. Now, if you get this consistently over an extended period of time, so if you've got somebody who's using low-fat products, which sadly to say are high in sugars normally, and not necessarily the sugars that we can taste, but sugars on a different level. So you have that constant battering of the system with blood sugar levels, then insulin, and you end up, with insulin resistance and damage to the liver, and you can possibly get things like fatty liver, which is really not where we want to go in our life.
And also, if you look at something that says 0% fat, be afraid. Why should something have 0% fat? And on the back, if you look at the ingredient lists are always twice as long, and you'll find things like partially hydrogenated fats, which is something again that you should be worrying about. Really and truly, these are not foods that you want to be having at all in your diet. I mean, my personal opinion is that instead of having something that's low fat, have the full fat product, but actually have less of it.
Well, there are things like every cellular membrane on planet Earth, no matter what it is, has a phospholipid bilayer, lipids being fat. Now, if those
in English, she just said that everything has a layer of fat in it.
Yeah, so if you're taking that fat out, what are you really doing to the natural format of a cell?
Well, exactly. You're chemically rearranging it.
Bad news. Don't do it.
Yeah, we really don't agree with this. So, eat things that are higher, the proper ingredient, the natural ingredient. Food is about nutrition. I don't know how many times you can say this. When you put petrol in a car, you don't look for a good-looking petrol. You look for the right petrol for your car. What is the petrol that you're putting into your mouth? Food is about nutrition first and foremost. Therefore, get the best quality food you can get and eat it properly and well, and it will help you. But there are foods that are low in fat naturally, and those you can actually eat more of. What do you want to say about that, Tatu?
Vegetables.
Okay, we just lost everybody there. They all went, oh my god. Well, yeah, okay, but there must be other foods that are good for you, that are low in fat. Not even low in fat, that just aren't as high in sugar, really, I think. Isn't that what we're saying? That they don't have to be low in fat, they don't necessarily have to be as high in sugar.
Yeah, no, I think sort of any balanced naturopathic diet, or, a sort of healthy living diet, you're going to have a fairly good balance of fats in it.
Well, so when I say to people eat raw nuts and eat raw seeds, people say, but nuts are fattening.
Yeah, they do have fats in them, but the fats there are good and natural.
That your body needs.
As opposed to some zero fat products.
Well, I saw Tatu's face. She was just about to say something rude there. Now, the other thing with it is if you eat a handful of raw nuts, I promise you're going to find it really, really hard. Raw nuts, not roasted, not dry roasted. You're going to find it really hard to eat the whole packet. It's just impossible because you get full quicker because there are more nutrients in that food.
They're very high in fiber, and yeah, I mean, it's definitely well worth it eating a handful of nuts because the nutrient content is really, really full. You're going to get, depending on what nut it is, but you're looking at selenium, magnesium,
zinc.
Yes, we love zinc. There's just so much going on. Walnuts got loads of omega-3s in them.
And the other thing is low-fat yogurts. Why would you do that? So yogurt has practically no calories. You'll then take yogurt, put sugar in it, then strip the sugar in order to get a low-fat yogurt, and then say, here, eat this. Okay? Wouldn't it be better to just buy the yogurt and put some fruit in it, and then eat that and know that you're doing fine? And it's actually good for you.
Yeah, it's important to have a little bit of fat everywhere in your diet. And actually, I don't want to make you panic, but even most vegetables have a small amount of fat in it from that phospholipid bilayer. And also, fats are very important for protection.
And they also move, and you move stuff around the body using fat. I mean, you really, really need it. I'm always fighting with my 11-year-old who's saying, Mama, I'm fat. And I'm like, no, the fact that you actually have fat in your body now means that you're going to be fertile in your 20s, because your body is keeping your systems working properly. Clearly, it's not the only part of it, but it really, really matters. Young girls especially think that they should be really, really skinny, and they cut out fat. Their systems literally stop working.
Yeah, they cut out fat and they go on to diet products which have no nutrient content whatsoever. And when you're in your younger years, or you're coming up to pubescence or in pubescence, it's incredibly important to have, for instance, phenomenal amounts of zinc. And you don't really catch that many teenagers eating a handful of pumpkin seeds or oysters, say.
Okay, if my teenager came home to eat oysters, I'd be so afraid. I'd be going, let's not do that. But anyway, I think you get the point. The point is, don't look at the calorie intake of the food and then look for something that's low fat. If you looked at the nutrient content of food, you'd automatically stop eating after a certain time. But thank you very much for joining us, and thanks, Tatu.
My pleasure.
Speak soon.